This is an oil boiler. You got the oil burner here, firebox, and then there's a water jacket. That water jacket is then heated, and water comes up here through this pump, through these two valves, whenever my thermostats are calling for heat. So that goes up and goes to the baseboard radiant heat. It then comes back on this line and goes back into the boiler to get reheated and cycled again. So this brings me to my heat exchanger, which ties in the outdoor wood boiler to the oil boiler right here. So you have the hot water coming down here, going in through this side of the heat exchanger, back up and out to that wood boiler. You then have colder water coming down here through this pump, through the other side of the heat exchanger and going back. Now you want to have the direction of flows opposite so it's a better transfer of heat. So that hot water then comes up, goes over, goes into this T. If the house is calling for heat, the hot water goes up, services that, and then comes back down. But if the heating system's off, that water is just going to go down, heat this tank, and back up, and just continuing to circulate. Right now, the water temp in this boiler is at 175 degrees. Because my heat is on, everything's circulating, it's losing some heat in here. I've also been getting questions, well, if this is your heating system water, where's your domestic hot? And that, my friends, is where this black plate is. So there's another heat exchanger that sits in that tank of water. So you have cold water coming in, it's going into that heat exchanger, coming out at like 175-ish degrees, goes into this mixing valve so it's not as hot so you don't burn yourself, and that goes up and out to the rest of my house, wherever, faucets, dishwasher, washing machine, stuff like that. So I hope that answers some questions here. One last thing we have is this valve on top. It's a pressure relief valve just in case too much pressure builds up in the system. That will send all the water all over the floor. Awesome. But because this is a pressurized system, it's at like 20 PSI, it's considered a closed loop. You have cold water coming here to this metering valve. So that way there's always pressure in the lines, there's no air, and it's good. It's good to go.